So my name is Onches. I'll be taking you through the Rust programming language. So I'm planning to move on by using the Rust documentation. Uh, the Rustaceans call it the book. So we are going to to learn Rust step by step through. We are going to follow the chapters uh, until we are done, at least we so that we can have a better understanding about the Rust. Where you can find the book. So just go to the description, the link in the description below. That is rust.rustlang.org, then stable/book. So that is where you will find the book about the Rust programming language. So um, Rust. So the Rust programming language helps you write faster and more reliable software, as well as high ergonomics and and low-level control are often at odds in programming language design. So Rust challenges that conflict through balancing powerful technical capacity and a great developer experience. Rust gives you the high option to control low-level details such as memory usage and management without all the hassle traditionally associated with such control. So, um, who is Rust for? Rust is basically for a quite large number of people for a variety of reasons. So maybe a team of developers, Rust is proving to be a productive tool for collaboration among large teams of developers with varying level of system programming knowledge. Low-level code is prone to a variety of sub-bugs, which in most other languages can be caught only through extensive testing and careful code review by experienced developers. In Rust, the compiler plays a gatekeeper role by refusing to compile code uh, with these elusive bugs, including concurrency bugs. By working alongside the compiler, the team can spend their time focusing on the program's logic rather than chasing down bugs. So it's also for student people who are interested in learning about systems concept. Also, companies big and small are adapting Rust in production or for variety of tasks, as well as open source developers. So who wants to build programs in the Rust programming language, as well as developer tools and libraries. People who also value speed and stability, and so on and so forth. So the book actually contains chapters, several of them actually up to around I, I think 20, as well as this chapter include the tests, chapters where you will create programs, as well as chapters that involve uh, documentation. Others involve creating application that can run in your browser. It can execute and maybe do some understanding. So we are going to jump directly to the installation. So for Linux and Mac OS, you just have to copy this cal command and then just paste it on your terminal. So after that, you just have to um, just enter option 1 to install Rust in default. Then you will get Rust is installed now. That's great. For those on Mac OS, please have you need to have Xcode installed, so you can just use Xcode select then install, because it will need the C compiler for running. For those on Windows, the easiest way is to install the build tools for Visual Studio 2019, so which comes with the C++ build tools, as well as WSL, that is Windows Subsystem for Linux, to help you in the installation. So you can just move to this link and see how to install for Windows. So using Rust app, you can update as well as uninstall Rust. So Rust app will manage your Rust toolchain and update them, and uh, as well as uninstall. So if you have already installed after you have already installed Rust, it will give you the current Rust version you are on. So currently I'm on 1.6.1.0. So that is the current version I'm on. So basically I think we have covered on the basics of installation. So in case of any issue installing, you can just comment down below. So next we are going to move very fast to the Hello World application. So for that, there are several ways to build a Rust application. For the first one, we can I'm going to create uh, a directory and call it Hello Rust. So inside this directory, now we are going to create a file which will be the entry file for the compilation of Rust, which we will create by using the touch command, touch main.rs. So for files, Rust files, they end with rs extension to show that they are Rust files. So for that, I'm going to open that into my Visual Studio Code. Just press enter. So we have created a folder called Hello World, Hello Rust, and then we have created a main.rs. So if you're on Visual Studio Code, there are some of the extension I would ask you to install. Having one is Beta Toml. The next is Crates. You will see how it will help you later. This will help you manage your dependencies and get the latest version, or specify the version you want. Also having a error lens will be of much use, as well as the Rust analyzer. This will help you give nice type annotation, as well as auto completion, and then code completion, as well as overlaying documentation and inlay hints. So for that, let's move back, and um, for every Rust application, we start with the main function. So for a function in Rust, we use the fn keyword. Um, then we name the function, which we need to call it main, and then after that we create the print line in which is a macro. We use the exclamation mark, then pass the so for that we have a minimum application in Rust. So as you can see, we what we have done here, we have created a main. So in every Rust binary, you should have a main function to show the compiler this is where you should start executing your program. as well as we are using the print line macro, which will help us print code to the terminal. So with that, let's just compile our code. So we use rust c, then compile it. So it will generate an executable. After generating an executable, we can just see it generated an executable, and we can run it with calling. So basically that's how you run a program using rust-c. So the easiest way to that is the easiest way to run a program, and the minimum way to run one. So the next application, I'm going to now introduce something else called cargo. So cargo is a Rust package manager. So cargo gives you things like building your application, compiling, running, testing, benchmarking, and as well as uh, shipping your libraries to crates.io. So for that, we are going to create an cargo new hello world application using that. So it creates a binary. The application is hello world. Then let's move in here. So it ships with a source folder. It initializes Git as well as a cargo.stamo. So cargo.stamo shows your package name, your version dependent, your version, as well as your edition. As also on the dependency section, this is where you add your dependencies. So basically that's the main minimum application using cargo. So inside the cargo.tamo, as I told you, there we have for binary we have the main.rs. So the main.rs is where how you the entry file for Rust application, where how it starts running. Then inside the main.rs we have the main function. So the main function shows where to start running the application. So now to build up a cargo application, so let's move inside the application and clear the terminal. So building the cargo application, we do cargo build. So this command will build an executable, will compile the application, then build a binary, an executable. So we can run that, which is now it generates a target folder where it stores all information dealing with the debug information. So we get inside the debug, we get now the application, which is this hello world. So with this we can just copy the relative path and paste it here. We want to run that application. So it prints out, as you saw above there, it prints out the same as the using the rust-c. When you run the binary, it just prints out hello world. So the now using the build, it compiles and generates executable. Then you can also use cargo run. So cargo run builds your application, compiles your application, then runs the application, and you see the output here as hello world. So basically with cargo, it simplifies the steps to run the application as well as the. So with Cargo you can do a lot of much stuff. So you can build, you can check for errors, you can clean, which will remove the target directory. You can also generate documentation about your application. You can create a new, you can initialize an application on an existing directory. You can also run, you can test, you can benchmark, you can update the cargo.log. You can also search for crates. You can publish a crate. So for in Rust, libraries are called crates, and uh, as well as install and uninstall binaries. So with cargo, actually it does most of the stuff for you. So even if you had a new something, print line, hey, stations, and save it. Uh, if you run, use cargo run, it will compile and still get the same output. Hello world and hey stations. So basically, I think we have tackled on the much of the introduction, the same on the first chapter in our um, Rust programming language. So thank you.